Rev up your engines! Restore America says, what are your thoughts on Toyota's hydrogen development? Hydrogen versus electric, your thoughts? Pollutes as water vapor, but of course you got to get the hydrogen, right? We don't have an extensive infrastructure for hydrogen. We have just about zero infrastructure for hydrogen. And most of the hydrogen that's created in the United States is dirty hydrogen. It's created from petrochemicals. The oil companies make the stuff. It's not clean unless everything radically changed. Then, of course, you would have to have a hydrogen pipeline to fill our cars up with, and that's going to take some doing, right? Now, electric cars, as much as I put them down, because they're not anywhere near the range where the batteries last, not explode, not burn your house down, right? Not enough electricity generating or power transmission lines or charging stations for millions of people to drive them, right? At least there's already an electric infrastructure of some sort. As bad as it is in this country, it exists. There's not a hydrogen one. So it would be a lot faster to do battery electric cars than hydrogen electric cars. Now, maybe in the future, yeah, great. Hydrogen cars. Maybe they'll figure out a way they can make seawater into hydrogen using the nuclear fission or something, right? And they'll be able to have endless supplies of hydrogen, and then they'll have ways to deliver it, and we can drive fuel cell cars. Who knows? But that's a long way in the future. Dr. Green says, Scotty, do you think nuclear-powered cars will ever be an option? I kind of doubt it, you know? Ages ago, when I was a kid, they even tried to make a nuclear-powered jet. But of course, it weighed so much, and they had to have a giant heat shield, lead, so that weighs a ton, and you're flying up in the air, and it turns out it was still throwing some radiation out in the atmosphere. I doubt if we're going to have nuclear-powered cars. Now, they do have nuke subs, but that's the military, and submarines are gigantic, right? And they can have heat shields on it, because you don't care. You want a submarine to be relatively heavy, so it'll sink under the water when you want to, right? There's a lot of reasons they can use nuke subs, and they're not going to use them in cars, small scale. It wouldn't make any sense. It would cost too much money to make. Tim Bell says, I got 69 Corvette quadrajet carburetor. Runs okay. Would another carburetor be better? Thanks. I like the Edelbrocks. Customers of mine have those old things. If they have any running problems, I just say, let's just throw that carburetor away. Buy a brand new Edelbrock 4-barrel. They'll bolt on that intake manifold. They'll bolt right on. Easy to set up. It will probably run quite a bit better. Just because you got an old car. It's a 69. You put a modern carburetor on it, it's better design. They've changed them over time, right? So I would if I were you. Everything stock on your car, just keep the old carburetor, because if you ever sell it, a lot of guys want stock and say, here's the old carb, do whatever you want. Then they can go back to stock if they want to. Don't throw it away. Tell me you got a classic like that. Don't throw old parts away. Save them all. Jax2 says, Scotty, is there a cheap fix for a fuel gauge that reads at a quarter when a tank's empty on 05 GMC pickup? Just pretend quarter is empty. Then you know it's almost at a quarter. Quarter's really E, you know? What happens is either you hit something and the gas tank is bent in, right? And if it's bent, then the float's sitting at the wrong place, so it gives you a false reading, right? As long as that stable quarter's empty, just pretend it's empty. Don't let it get to a quarter. Well, Scotty, how can I tell if I need new struts? Good question. Struts absorb shock. There's a shock absorber inside canister. It's just that it has springs built on it, right? First, look at them with a flashlight. Don't trust anybody because they could cheat you. See if there's oil. If there's oil inside, it means shafts have worn the seals, and then you need new ones because it's leaking, right? But don't ask your mechanic to check it unless you really trust them, because they could spray, oh yeah, look, they're worn. You need new ones, right? Now, the other thing is, and this is a really good way of telling it is, drive down on a highway. Say your car's going great, going 60, but then when you hit bumps, it starts shaking around, they're worn out. If they're really shot, when you're sitting in a driveway and you're pushing a car, you're pushing on it, it'll go like one of those old vans in a Porky Pig cartoon when I was a kid. But that's only when they're completely shot. The other ways are better to check them when they're on their way out. All right, so I got an 08 Ford Mustang V8 convertible. It damages my battery after a couple of months. I keep having a power surge maybe from the alternator. All right, if your batteries keep going out, then every month or two you got to replace the battery, you obviously have some kind of serious electrical problem. First thing you want to do, make sure the cables that go on it are clean and tight. Make sure all of the big cables aren't corroded where they're connected together, or where they bolt to the car, or where they bolt to the frame of the car. Because the ground straps, the negative strap on the negative terminal of the battery, is just as important as the positive. If you have bad grounds, that'll make it heat up and it'll destroy the battery. And of course, the alternator can, but that's a very simple test. Go to any mechanic like me, and we just hook up a machine, and it takes a minute. First, we load test the battery, then we load test the alternator. And if the alternator shows that you're getting surges, it would show that the diode ripples were bad. That's one of the tests our machines do. And when you have bad diodes in them, it can actually put up 120, 140 volts, and that will burn out your battery. Very easy test any mechanic can do. Just Pat says, Scotty, why don't you own a Chevy El Camino? Well, because I don't like spending a lot of money on gasoline. money. Now, my grandson is nuts about those. He just got one that's got a big block in it that he's fixing up. He's always loved those things because they're super fast. They're crazy to drive. And it's weird. The things were made before he was even born, but he likes them. Now, if you are looking at them, I'll tell you one thing. First thing you want to do is jack it up, look at the bottom, look at the frame. They are rust buckets. If you find one that's rusted, run away. It's worth nothing. But if you find one with a solid frame, you hit it with a hammer, clang, clang, clang. The floorboards where you sit for the passenger and the driver aren't rotting their way through, can be a good car to fix up, especially if it's V8. They're worth a lot of money. I don't like spending money on gas, so I'm not going to be buying a big V8 gas hog. Hey, Rich says, Scotty, my dad has a 2014 RAV4. The ABS light's on. Scan tool says front wheel speed sensor circuit is bad. So I replaced it and the light is still on. I'm assuming you replaced the sensor itself, right? But it says the circuit is bad. Could be the sensor, could be the wiring, could even be the computer that feeds it data. You tried to fix it yourself, but when it gets to that level, you got to pay a guy like me, or you got to go out and buy at least $800 scan tool that does bidirectional testing. When I get those, then what I have to do is do bidirectional testing. I'll see, is the computer sending data to the speed signal? Maybe it isn't. Then you know it's the computer or the wiring. Is there data going into the sensor but not coming out? In that case, you know it was either the sensor or the wiring coming back out from the sensor. We can test those things bidirectionally. You change the sensor, which is a logical thing. Now, I don't know how good of a scan tool you had to get that data, but the good scan tools, when I drive down the road, it'll show the speed of each wheel, right? And you know exactly at least which wheel the problem is, because you'll see one's got 30 miles an hour, one's got 30, the other one's got 30, but one of them doesn't have anything or it has the wrong speed. Then you know that's the one to work on and check the circuit, the computer, and the sensor. John Heikkinen says, Scotty, I got an 02 Chevy Prism with the ticking noise. Any suggestions? Yeah, turn the radio up. First thing you want to do, my friend Bernie in Albuquerque has an ATS cleaner, fuel cleaner, and oil cleaner. You want to do the oil cleaner. You pour a bottle of it and you rev it up to like 1800 RPM for 20 minutes with a fan in front of the car. Then you change the oil and filter. That gets all the carbon and crud out of the system. If there's a problem inside the engine because of dirt, the ticking will go away. Now, if the ticking doesn't go away, you have a problem generally in the engine. Now, it could also be fuel injectors ticking, so you can get a piece of metal or stethoscope, listen to the 4 fuel injectors, and if one of them is clicking and it runs okay, you could ignore it. And if you didn't like it, you could replace the injector that's clicking, right? But normally it's inside the engine, so do the flush first. And if you do the flush and the noise is still there and it's not the injectors, you might want to live with it. Those are strong engines. They can make noise and still run for quite some time, because rebuilding one of those engines on an 02 Prism is more money than the car's worth by 2 or 3 times. Alberto Perez says, Scotty got an 07 Pilot, has no reverse. I hear a metal sound when it's in park. Neutral, it doesn't make any noise. It'll shift fine and drive. Oil filter's internal. All right, well, your transmission's going out. I see that happen to them as they age and give the mileage. I assume it's relatively high mileage. Reverse gear is different than all the other gears. It's the gear that goes reverse. Your reverse gear is obviously broken, because you said drive around, shift gears, but it won't go in reverse. It's going out. Now, I had a guy with one once. He drove it for 3 years until it finally crapped out. He would just park it so he didn't have to back up. He'd always make a point where he didn't have to back up, and if he ever did, he'd come with friends and they'd push it backwards and then drive away. But eventually your transmission will break and you will crap in your pants when you find out what it costs to rebuild one of those Pilot automatic transmissions. I've seen guys spend $4,000 to $7,000 having them done correctly. So you might baby it and see how long it lasts, but it's definitely breaking. The reverse gear is breaking. And eventually something will break enough that the whole thing, it won't go and drive either. Mary Fisher says, I just got a new motor for my 2018 Chevy Trax at 47,000 miles. Took 4.5 months to get it from the dealer. What can you tell me about that? One, don't buy Chevys because their engines stink. I had a guy, he's been waiting 6 months, Silverado, for an engine. It was under warranty in his case. He didn't have to pay for it, but he's got to wait because they don't have the parts and they make them poor, so there's a whole bunch of them that are broken. Yours is the only one that broke. There are thousands of them that are broken, you know. They just make you wait because they don't have the parts for them. It's plain and simple, you know. They want to make money selling new cars. They don't care about making parts for them. And there is no law. Here's the interesting thing you might not realize. A lot of people think, oh, there's a law that, you know, they got to make parts for 10 years after they build a car. No, that's not true in the United States. They only have to have parts available while they're still under the factory warranty. So if the warranty's 3 years, they only have to have parts to fix it for 3 years. And they don't even have to make them themselves. As long as somebody somewhere makes them and they can fix them, that's all that matters. 2018, so, you know, it's 5 years old. They don't have to have parts for it if they don't want to. Amaro says, Scotty, I'm from the Philippines. I bought my first car. It's a Nissan Sentra, 1991, 135,000 miles. This is a good decision. It's a manual. It's actually a great decision. And everyone's going to say, Scotty, you hypocrite. You hate Nissans. Well, guess what? That's a 91. They were making really strong cars back in 91. They could run 400,000 miles or more. It wasn't until the year 2000 that the French company Renault started taking over and making Nissan quality go right down the toilet. And it's a standard transmission. The weakest things are the Nissans, so they're automatics. That's a standard. That thing may last you for years and years. Obviously, people took care of it. It's a 91. It still runs, right? So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.